Chapter 35 I Can See You. Pouring himself a cup of coffee, Barnaby looked out over the dig site and contemplated that if it had not been for this very site and the solarium therein, it would have been impossible for him to be sat here now. Time travel would never have existed. Once again his head started to ache from the endless loops that going back and forth in time had caused. As he shook his head to clear the fog, the day's shift arrived and smoothly handed over from the night shift. Barnaby was beginning to worry that nothing was actually going to happen when around 9 a.m. a Range Rover pulled up. Barnaby could not believe his eyes when no other than Sebastian stepped out of the car and walked over to a man waiting by the guardhouse. They talked for a few seconds before Sebastian was walked around the site. Barnaby followed them with the binoculars as the guard showed Sebastian the ins and outs of what was going on. A group of people were gathered in one particular spot. Barnaby assumed that this was the cordoned-off area where the artifacts had been found. Once again more talk followed by more walking. After an hour of looking further around the rest of the site, Sebastian returned to the archaeologists, and clearly told them what they wanted to hear, judging by the looks on their faces and the rigorous handshakes. And then almost as quickly as he arrived, Sebastian returned to the car and left. It was now early afternoon. Barnaby ate a quick meal and continued to watch the comings and goings. Nothing at all was going on and very little was going or coming, and he was beginning to lose faith that this, his only lead, would bring anything meaningful at all. As the day turned to evening, Barnaby continued to study the site. It was very much like watching paint dry. Around midnight there was a flash, like a torch on the dig site. Barnaby's interest and attention piqued. He scanned the site with his night vision goggles. He could not make a great deal out, but after a few minutes a small drone took to the air and flitted around the site. He could only assume it was doing some reconnaissance. Barely able to see anything of any real importance, he could just make out some minor movement. What he saw looked impossible. Barnaby had learned a long time ago to ignore what he thought could be possible for what was in fact possible. And what he was seeing were a pair of mechanical worms eating the ground and pooping some form of material which was then being collected by a third thing, a thing that could not clearly be made out. Clearly something was going on. This could be the single event that meant something. Moving fast and silently, Barnaby made it onto the site and crept within listening distance of the worms. The activity continued for a few minutes, then there was some talking. All he heard was, "We'll get back to Morocco, you get the drums back to the UK and we'll see you there after our flight." Then a loud whoosh and rush of air and all was quiet. Morocco? The UK? Now Barnaby had something solid to work on. He knew that Sebastian had traveled from the North African base, and now these people were known to have been in the same rough location. They must have somehow eavesdropped the base and found out where the solarium had been found. He finally had a plan: get to the base, review the video footage of the security system and try and piece the rest together. He first needed to message Sebastian in the future in order to prepare instructions for Sebastian in the past, or the now as far as Barnaby was concerned, so that the way would be prepared for Barnaby's arrival, with the required authority his future position in Sepulchre demanded. Then he could start to sort this mess out once and for all.